You gotta understand that females are the first teachers of you and I, man. Like, to me, that's like standard. Your mum was your first teacher. Try and know that. Like, when you suckled from her or when she had you close to her, she was teaching you things. She was probably speaking to you and showing you things about the world and this is this and this is that. So the role of females in teaching is essential because as a child, I would say your mother was your quote-unquote God. Put that in quotation marks. She was your God, like she was your deity. Like everybody knows the affinity they have with their own mother. Do you know what I mean? It's not something you can actually describe with words sometimes. It's just like a connection that is spiritual for some people. So I would say your mother is the first God, she's the first teacher. So yeah, I would say that's the woman's role on the earth. It's my opinion. I don't think people realise that they say to me that I'm teaching them, but they don't realise they're teaching me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when I get all these messages from people and I speak to people and I interact with people, like this whole, I'm not on the hero worship thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I don't like people worshipping another human being like they're better than them, like nothing that I know, yeah, or nothing that I've said to people is not accessible for people to know. I'm not special. Do you get what I'm saying? But certain people act like I'm special, and I'm like I know the same thing you know. Like I grew up in London. Like I'm just an African living in London. I probably went to the same places that people went to. I probably know some of the same people that you know. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't do that whole hero worship thing. Like I don't do it. I'm more of a student than I am a teacher, I feel like, because without being a student, like if you think about a student that takes their exams, they are talking about the most stuff. Like in their exam, they've got 2 hours and they've got so much information in their brain about what they know, and they're just going and going and going. So they're to the student, but to someone who doesn't know what the student knows, that student is a teacher. They're like, oh my God, you know so much. And it's like, no, bro, I'm a student. Like, I only know this because I taught myself, or this teacher actually taught me. So it's like, people don't understand that I'm still a student, but people are treating me like I'm a teacher because I'm still learning. Like, I will sit down. A lot of the time, people will see me sitting down silent. And I'm sitting down silent, bro, because I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to learn from other people. I'm trying to learn from the environment. I'm trying to learn from nature. I'm trying to learn from everything, bro. And it's like, it's weird that people say certain things to me, even though I know that I'm speaking stuff and I know that I'm a very vocal person. Like I know that about myself, but it's like, bro, I'm a student. Like, let's learn together. That's why I say family. I always talk about peace, family, peace. Like, this is a family thing. I'm not head of the family. I'm part of the family. Do you get what I'm saying? If we're all a family, let's all learn together. I might know something, you might know something. It's just, it's a mad like dynamic when I kind of like analyze the way people treat me sometimes. Frances Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller, to me, broke down white supremacy to a T. You know, it encompasses law, politics, religion, media, ideas of beauty, education. White supremacy is like a system of whatever goes on in that system. The whiter skinned people are the ones that are always held up to the higher standard, and the darker skinned people are always the ones that are held to the lower standard. We live in that society. Anyone that denies racism, race prejudice, or white supremacy, I have a really hard time having a conversation with them, because as a person, I want to be able to deal with things that are real. As a person that's living under white supremacy, I can be race prejudiced myself. I don't mind a white person telling me they're race prejudiced. I don't mind an Asian telling me that. I don't mind a Chinese. I'm telling you this as a statement of fact. I don't care if a Chinese person told me that they prefer Chinese people over all others. I don't care. For me, you're supposed to, because all your family are Chinese and your friends are Chinese. Of course, you're going to prefer Chinese people over, other races. As I said, Jane Elliott before has already done this experiment and shown that race prejudice exists within all races. After that conversation, after we've established that we're all race prejudiced to some degree, we all agree on that, fine. Let's talk about the system that we currently live under. Obviously, the whiter skinned people get the most privilege and the darker skinned people get the least privilege. And I cannot have a conversation, honestly, with somebody who doesn't acknowledge their own racial bias in the system. What's going on in America right now, and the white supremacists, the KKK that have risen out of, people will say nowhere, but it's like they've always been there. They've just been silent, and I think the election of Donald Trump kind of gave them more of a voice. Black people have been asleep for far too long, bro. We've always known there's been racism. A lot of us have thought that it will go away if you don't think about it, or if you don't speak about it, or if you don't acknowledge it, and all this kind of stuff. It's like a lot of us thought that it would just go away if we just be quiet. I don't remember the celebrity, the actor or someone that said, if you don't want racism to exist, then don't talk about it. And I was like, what? But it's like saying, if you don't want cancer to exist, don't talk about cancer. Just because you don't want to acknowledge it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I think when it comes to this racism thing, we need to understand that it exists, probably always going to exist. No amount of not speaking about it, no amount of begging people not to be racist or marching or signing petitions and stuff. Racism is a psychological issue. It frustrates me sometimes when I speak to black people about racism, black people specifically, because I speak to a lot of black people about racism and they speak about stuff and I'm like, why are you not going into the psychological aspect of why racism exists? If we get into the psyche of the people that are racist, then you can see why they're racist, and you can even show them why they're racist, because the racist generally doesn't want to admit that they're racist. They have some kind of barrier that says, no, I'm not a racist. But black people have been able, which is unfortunate for us, we've been able to study racism for a very long time because we've been subject to it. So we've been able to study the psychology of the people that are racist towards us, whether that be the Arab that came to Africa or the European that came to Africa, any other people that have subjugated us for any other reason. We've been able to kind of study the behaviors of these people. White-skinned people like Jane Elliott, right, or Tim Wise, will speak to white people about racism, and they will have like a sea of white people in like a conference and stuff that will be like, yeah, and see it. But if I was just go to that same conference, right, and I was to say the exact same thing that Jane Elliott is saying or that Tim Wise is saying, I would come up against a wall. A lot of people who are racist don't want to hear that they are racist from the people that they are racist towards. They don't want to hear it from black people. They don't want to hear it from Chinese people. They don't want to hear it from Asian people or Indian people. They want to hear it from their own. I don't want to be a person to kind of say, yeah, listen to the white person that speaks about racism, because white people don't experience racism. We live it.